for the fire to continue to go, to continue to burn. Virgo, if there is not an ability to create some sort of organization, if there's not a purpose that they are able to drive on a daily basis with this fire, with this Mars energy, yes, they can absolutely burn out. They can likely mistreat themselves, physically, because these daily routines are just all or nothing. They're giving so much to try and create this sense out of the chaos, but realistically, all they're doing is burning themselves out. Thank you.
Okay, so I am convinced that all of you all are here for me. This whole room was created just for me. Because I so needed to hear this morning. And I love all of you all for being here. So, thank you, sister. So, no, but on for real, I am sitting here just kind of stuck. Like, God, I want answers and I want them now. Because I have so many projects going on. And one particular project is the book that I'm writing a book. I have 17 different authors, and I'm just stuck. Like, why do I have all of the pieces and can't seem to pull them out? And why is it that I have so many ideas that's just being downloaded in me that I'm stuck? And as I'm listening, Scorpio, Sun, Aries, Moon, and you guys talked about the Mars and Capricorn, and it's just a lot happening. So I'm sitting here with this one-on-one because, again, let me just give this disclaimer before I say something else. Where I come from, in my earlier ages of living before Clubhouse, I would have never considered astrology, numerology, cardology, and none of that stuff because, it's witchcraft is what we thought. But it's actually the missing piece to just have a little bit of direction to understand what's happening. So I know I said a lot. I hope somebody can catch it and help me get unstuck in this basic room because it's so not basic.
Not to hop on religion, Nagu, but remember we had a room before where I told you our people perish for lack of knowledge, and that knowledge part is going out and seeking it. And I just want to say thank you, Vera, for being here, because as we continue to do our jobs, we're touching other people's lives. And some people are just that curious that they come in, that they find the answers that they're looking for. So thank you for that testimony.
Alrighty. So if anyone wants to comment, please comment. If you want to come to the stage, come to the stage. Because the next one I'm going to get into is Taurus and Venus. And this should be really good. So we talked about the first house, Aries. We took Aries around the chart. We talked about Mars pertaining to Aries. We talked about Aries and Libra's axis. We talked about everything Aries related. And we have replays on. So anything that you missed today, you can always go back and see again in Nagu's Vedic Astrology. If you haven't already, go ahead, like, and become a member of Nagu's Vedic Astrology. We'll be hosting way more rooms in 2023. That is a promise. Actually, we just had a good room the other night with Sister Elaine. Oh, that room was so good, about human design and astrology through synastry and love. So again, you guys, make sure you like this room because I'm going to have some heavy hitters on. There's somebody I believe in this room we're going to probably do some rooms with. So make sure you become a part of this group. Go ahead if you guys want to say something.
Yeah, I want to say I love what you do, Nagu, and always appreciate these exchanges. And I also hope to collaborate with you this year at some point.
Thank you, brother. I really do appreciate that. I really do.
And you know what I was about to say, Nagu, because I had to go look in the back channels because I talked to so many amazing masterminds, and anywhere I go and kind of sit and speak on the stage, I'm already knowing that I'm in the connection with masterminds. because I don't look at this app. I look at this app one of two ways. And I say that there is a lot of darkness in this on this app. So there are a whole lot of demons. It's a whole lot of demonic energy, people in dark places, hurt people that's ready to hurt people. But then there are a lot of light workers. There are a lot of masterminds. There are a lot of what we will call in church prophets. Those people that are enlightened, awakened, whatever it is that you use, and those people that help, elevate people to higher highs. And so that's why I sit and I in those rooms. And so that's why I'm here, because this is one of those places for me. Now, did we talk, because I know I be forgetting who I talk to, but I know I want to make some connections with you and a couple of more of the masterminds and kind of create a space as well. So whenever you do that, make sure that you connect me to that. And then if I have not,
we connect, Sister Red. Remember, we were just on the phone, me and you
and Vontae, right?
And Vontae,
That's what I was thinking. That was you. But again, so you get, you know what? So that's one of the reasons that I'm making my chart, so that I can keep up with who I've done what with. Because again, when I started, I thought that was you, but I just had to make sure. I'm like, okay, wasn't he the one we just talked with Vontae? So yep,
I'm back in the flesh.
Yep. Okay. So listen, it's needed right now, like really, really, really needed to jump on that, because I have a lot of great ideas and I like to start things, but it's having the energy to finish all of the stuff that I start. Just like I said, is that I'm stuck right here with this book now that I know I got to get out. So I've literally said, you know what, you're going to sit your butt down over these next 7 days. You pulling this book out. It will be completed. And that's it. But then something else amazing come on and I'm looking like, oh my God, I got to give it a little bit of fire. I got to give it a little bit of my attention. So again, can I hold you just as responsible as me for us to talk, so that we could put this room together, because Vontae is ready. There are a lot of more of you amazing people that are ready to do it. And in this time, there are people that really, really need it. And I can't stress that enough.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Make sure you send me a message in the back chat so we can talk. Okay. We definitely need to get up on that conversation. Yeah. And thank you again, Sister Bear. Does anyone else want to comment or say anything before we move on to Taurus and Venus? All right. And again, thank you so much for those kind words and the information as well, and extensions of business. I definitely need that. So, speaking of business, we slide right into Taurus. This is so dope. What is Taurus? Taurus and Venus, right? So we think about Venus, right? And Venus is a representation of what we call the goddess Lakshmi. And the goddess Lakshmi breaks down to two words. And the first word we need to understand is the most important word, which means luck. Luck. L-A-K. Luck is the word that we use for luck. And Venus is the representation of material luck in this world. So when we think about Taurus, what is it about Taurus that is so important to everyone that we say, oh, I like this Taurus thing. I like this, because Taurus is the expansion of the resources that we need in this life. When we think about your bank account, it's Taurus. When we think about your face, that's Taurus. Why is your face and Taurus represented together? Because when a person looks at you, they look at your face for your value. They don't look at your butt. They don't look at your legs. They don't look at your arms. They don't look at your breast, your stomach, your neck. They're looking at your face.
Yes, the first thing.
That's right.
You could have everything else, but there's a reason why they call it a butterface.
That's right.
Face.
Let's do it. So Your face is your value, and this is very important. And not only is your face important, but Taurus also shows the value of the resources what you get in life. So this is why when we see people that are placed with the sun that's in Taurus, well, what does that say about them? That means that they have the goddess of luck on their side. You see a lot of sun and Taurus people, they'll be the people that will get things from men so easily. You'll be like, why is she able to get 5-star steak dinners and crab wish dinners and taking cruise? Because that is the luck that she has brought into this lifetime. I see a lot of Taurus men. Even my brother's actually sun and Taurus. It's funny, most of my family is a Taurus. My mom is a Taurus ascendant. So I have a lot of Taurus. Like most of my family is sun and Taurus, sun and Taurus, sun. And you see these people, like my sister's always lived in a nice house. No disrespect. Ain't got no job. Listen, ain't got no job. Live better than fucking Bill Gates.
Yep, I couldn't stand that shit. And I'm like, why the hell am I sitting here having to struggle and fight for my shit? She just did it like that. I'm like, what the fuck?
It's wild. So, like, you gotta understand what Taurus is talking about. All right? Venus is like a magnet. And what is it a magnet towards? Everything that you need in this material world. And that's why we look at Venus as the guru of the Asuras, Sukratarya. So it is the guru of the Asuras or the demons or the underworld or the material world that we live in. And anytime that we need something that's added unto us with that love factor, we find Venus. You're looking at Venus and Rahu. And Rahu is also the captain of Venus. So anytime that Venus needs to get some work done, it's Rahu. Hey, go do this, go do that. This is why we always come to Rahu as that genie. Same for Jupiter. Anytime we need to find ourselves into the metaphysical world, we tap Ketu. Hey, Ketu, let me go into this meditation. Let me go into this trance. Let me go into this deep sleep. Let me go and find myself within. And that finds us right into our Jupiter range. We wouldn't use Rahu to get there for Jupiter. And we wouldn't use Ketu to get there for Venus. So this is why these two are linked as gurus. Because they're at the top of what they do. They give out the work. So when we come back to Taurus, what is it about Taurus that makes it define itself? It is the word wealth. And wealth is a word for luck itself. Because to be wealthy means that I'm fortunate. And that is only attested to Jupiter in Sagittarius when we talk about Bhagya and fortune. But there's two different types of luck. There's material luck and there's metaphysical luck. Metaphysical luck is what we term to be as miracles. Material luck is what we term to be as like money and assets. Because if I drop $3 billion on you, no one's going to say it's a miracle. Well, you'll say it's a miracle done in my life, but you're not going to look at Bill Gates as being a miracle if he signs over 300,000 to you. No, you're just going to say I'm lucky as hell. It's funny how that works out. Does everyone notice the difference there, though? Has anybody ever thought about that before? How those two are the same, but people think about them so different. It's really deep. Think about that, though. Jupiter gives you luck is if I pray to God and something actually changes. I mean, the sky can turn green from blue and you'll say, oh, he sent me a sign. And that'll be your quote-unquote fortune, right? But if I drop 300,000 into a bet and win 30 million out of it, no one's going to look at that and say it's a miracle. You're just going to say you're lucky. So, again, this is where the material luck factor of Venus. So even in the chart, you want to know where the money comes from? You find Venus. You'll find the money easily with Venus. Moon and Venus. One day we'll get into that. But the same way, when we think about Taurus income into the chart, this is also where we find our wealth. This is where we find resources. No matter where that Taurus goes in your chart, you will find that wealth, those resources in that area. Now, here's the funny thing about this. This is looking at a chart from a different perspective. So I know everything that I'm talking about today is so new. No one's looking at Aries in the 8th house to see what Aries is doing in your chart, showing you the identity. I know. But this is another reason why most people don't understand astrology that well either. So you got to understand that too. So understanding the ascendant and not understanding what the other signs are doing around it is really not understanding the ascendant. Technically. So wherever Taurus values go in your chart is where you find your family and where you find your wealth. Now, if Venus is ruptured, and or let's say if Jupiter is ruptured or Venus is ruptured, the likelihood is that those values will kind of go down the drain. Because this is the reason why we have Karka for every house. But when we think about the Taurus values themselves, if you take Taurus around the chart, you'll see where the wealth factors come from in your life. So I want everyone to think about that in your chart. And I mean as in who or that place that we're looking at as in house. So for me, I'm an Aries ascendant. So where's my wealth come from? It comes from my family. And you know, that's a funny thing. Because when all else failed in life, I always knew I had a family to protect. And I never really thought about it that much because I really resented the hell out of my family for most of my life. And I look at it today like, dang, what would I have been had I not leaned on this person or that person, you know, didn't look out for me there, you know, blah, blah, blah. And like literally, I don't really even deal with that many people. So the only people I would really call up for some help is my family. It's really deep how that works out. But again, you find this in your chart. So I want you guys to try to practice this and think about this as a chart of understanding. When you think about Taurus, it's like how we see Aries is the identity. Taurus is the wealth factor. This is where we see family and where we see wealth in the chart. So just because my Taurus is in the second house does not mean your Taurus is going to be in the second house. It does not mean you're going to see life the same way. So I'm going to mute my mic and take some comments if you guys want to comment stuff.
Well, I don't know if I may be off track, but I just happened to look at my Taurus and see that it's in Saturn. And one of the first things that it was talking about was blockage. And I said, you know, this is really interesting. But I was talking, and I don't know if you know about this, but I was talking to another guy, and he was saying to me, you know, based off of something about a true zodiac. And I, as he was looking over, you know, my Scorpio sun and date of birth and all of that stuff, he determined that Taurus was actually my true zodiac. So now I'm just happen to be in a position to kind of study the Taurus. And I never thought about, you know, whatever the terminology is, because again, I'm really like a 2-year-old in this area. But I'm
what house is it in, Chris?
I'm sorry, say it again.
What house is it in?
My Taurus is in Saturn in the 6th house.
Okay. So the one thing you want to think about here is that Saturn in the 6th house is saying that you're going to have a certain burden, right?
A certain what? A certain what?
A burden, a responsibility towards debt and wealth. So for you, it's not so much like when you say Saturn and you say blockage, it's not really a blockage. It means that whatever money is going to be given to you is going to be given with a sense of responsibility attached to it. And that can be a lot of money. It can be a little money. It can mean that when someone gives you money, it's like they assign some special devoted attachment that has to come with it. So like you can make money through your company, but that's also mean that you're devoted to the company and that money more than likely may be belonging to the company in a sense. Like, so it's like your money is always in a sense of responsibility factor. That's what that Taurus means.
That is so, now listen, and I don't not want to tell all of my business, but that is so true. I work from home. I just happen to have the luxury of being able to, you know, just kind of make money easily. First of all, as an insurance agent, that came with responsibility. However, I've really not been doing the insurance because my business and marketing has really taken off and doing collaborations. And everything comes with a responsibility. I have people that, pay me $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, to do different projects, but I am attached to it, and it's attached through my business. And people are, I am responsible for, getting people what they want. I mean, I have the responsibility. So, like, you spot on with that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And so also the sense of family here and the sense of wealth also starts with the mother siblings in this factor, in this house. So that's another thing that you want to think about as well. And that's one thing that I wanted to bring up, is that Taurus shows these factors as you work them around the chart, the same way how we looked at Aries for the identity. Okay? So anyone else would like to comment or talk about anything? What's going on, Soul Coach? Peace and blessings, brother.
Peace and blessings, brother. How you doing?
I'm just up here spitting the good knowledge, trying to be in a good faith, man. That's all.
Yeah, I see you, man. I'm just happy, man. I got this newfound love for Vedic astrology. I've been really looking over my Vedic chart, so I'm just really kind of here listening in and hoping I can gain some insight myself.
Definitely. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I got a question for you on the when you're talking about is Venus is ruptured. Obviously, that impacts your wealth and material wealth. When we talk about Venus and your family, etc. What would you consider, from a Vedic standpoint, Venus being ruptured as far as aspects? Talk about squares, oppositions, and conjunctions, etc.
So that's okay. Now y'all got me really about to break down something, brother. Why you had to ask such a question like that? Because that's such a loaded question that I can't really answer the way I want to without giving you the reply that I'm about to give to you. This is really the understanding of what we call benefic and malefic planets. I was listening to a guy the other day. His name is Pundit Sunday Roth, and he's like one of the best knowledge givers of astrology I've ever heard. This dude is like Jesus in astrology. I cannot believe he knows this much. But he was going into speaking, and I want to break something down that he was speaking about, because it's something that we've all missed. And it's about the word benefits and malefic. The word benefit comes from a Latin word that literally means benefit. So Jupiter, Moon, Venus, Mercury, all right? And Jupiter and Venus being the highest benefits because Moon is conditional. Remember, Moon needs to be at a waxing position to give anything constructive. If Mercury is sitting in that association or malefic association, which is Saturn, Mars, Rahu, Ketu, then the likelihood is that it will have a problem. Okay? Now, so when we think about the word benefit, it means that you're getting a benefit from that planet. Jupiter, Moon, Mercury, and Venus. Remember, Moon needs to be waxing, not waning. And Mercury needs to be in benefic association. Now, when we think about the malefics, we think about the Sun, we think about Mars, we think about the nodes, we think about Saturn. What is it about these that why we call them malefic planets? Because malefic planets means that there's a give and a take. So when we talked about Jews, Venus and Mars, Venus can jump into a relationship, but it also has to give Mars its just due, which means that the benefit of Mars is going to take the benefit which Jude is going to get from the situation. So there's a lot of times when you see these malefics sitting around these planets, they're stealing the benefits from which you can get from it. You have Venus and Saturn, it's going to be hard to feel love. Why? Because Saturn is ice cold. When you think about Capricorn and Aquarius, there's nothing fun about that. That's hard work. That's devotion. That's being practical. That's being all of these things. But we have to remember that Saturn is always a cold shoulder. When you think about Venus and Rahu, pretty sure those people maybe got.
Wow. Hello? Girl, so I'm just reading your message.